Welcome back to GOLDBERG'S Garage. Today we got something special. Doesn't matter whether you're Christian, Jewish, I don't care what you are. You know holidays, and this bad boy was made for Santa Claus himself. This and this, well, I'll tell you how they tie in together a little bit later. Welcome to GOLDBERG'S Garage.
All right, Dodge fans, this is it.
Today, the Hell Deer Sleigh. Dodge's representation of Santa's sleigh. A dream coming true for me was being a representative for Dodge. Along the way, I had played different characters, whether it was the mayor of Musselville or Santa Claus. This, obviously, is Dodge's representation of Santa's sleigh. What it is, actually, is something really, really cool, especially to a Dodge guy like myself. In a very short story that originally is an extremely long story, I had a 2017 Dodge Challenger that I wanted to make a wide body because in 2018 I saw the Dodge Demon and it was the first wide body Challenger. I met with a couple of the designers who happen to be friends of mine, and they tried to fill in the blanks for me from the pictures that I was able to acquire online to what I knew actually had happened with the wide body. So I will fast forward the story. I show up for the first day of the shooting of Santa's sleigh, Dodge's representation. And the first thing I see as I walk through the door is this said fender sitting on the ground. I was doing everything I could as a car guy to replicate this fender flare, and it was not an easy process. And I was very close to actually starting the construction of that fender flare until I walked in and I saw that, and I asked somebody on set if it was possible that Santa Claus could maybe leave with that in his possession at the end of the shoot. I was struck down immediately, and it became a side note. So we will push it over for this story. It's not a Dodge Challenger that just came off the assembly line and they stripped the wheels off of it and turned it into a sleigh, but it actually spent its life as a mule car. And if you're a car guy, to have a possession of a mule car in any state is an absolutely really freaking cool thing. Because a mule car was basically a car the brand would put out to the public. They would test it on public roads right in front of everybody. But they would disguise it as different vehicles, whether it be the power plant, whether they're working on aerodynamics, whether they're working on fender flares, it doesn't matter. A mule car is a really special car, especially to a guy who gets it, and who lives it, breathes it, and bleeds it, which I do. The mule car came into play for myself when I was looking at the Dodge Demon when it was being constructed. Any type of information that we could get as car guys, we salivated over. So I would look for pictures, I would look for spy shots. They were of silver, wide body Dodge Challengers with the Dodge Demon hood on it, which is different than this. It's just one big scoop, basically, that goes from here to here. Instead of two scoops, this is the red eye, not the Demon. The first time I saw the mule car, which was a silver wide body Dodge Challenger, it had these fender flares on it. And what makes these fender flares different is that there's little rubber grommets on the outside. And after talking to the designers, they did that to throw people off, because they knew people like me would be salivating over any information that we could get on this car. And so they gave us the impression that that was gonna be the final look. So remember, I'm trying to build a wide body. I see these fenders. You have the mule car that these fenders came off of that I tried to acquire, which turns out to be the fenders that they took off of this car because it originally was not red when it came off the assembly line, it was silver. So this, it turns out, is a mule car, which makes complete sense, because why would Dodge take a brand new Dodge Challenger right off the assembly line that they could sell to the public and make X amount of money? Why wouldn't they use a mule car that they cannot resell? So they repurposed it, basically, and they turned it into something. First and foremost, the mule car was badass. Now it's even 10 times as badass because they turned a mule car into a sleigh. So this could have been a Dodge Demon in its former life. It could have had 10 different hoods. It could have had fender flares, no fender flares. Who really knows the history of this car? But the fact that it is what it is really freaking cool. So I'm shooting the commercial. I end up talking to the designers out in LA, California, that actually did the transformation. The designers at SRT obviously designed the vehicle. These guys came through with the plan. And whether it be the side rails, whether it be the exhaust that they did on the side and the front, where the wide body fenders were, or the fact that it's a chop top. I think it's the only chop top in existence. But they put a nice container back here for Santa to put his presents. And, you know, the promotion was a really freaking cool thing. To think that I would be in possession of this sleigh after we used it for the promotion is freaking unbelievable, right? I mean, I can't even put that into words. As a car guy, as Santa Claus, I mean, it's very sentimental to me. A very good friend of mine, Rob Hart, and I share ownership of this from Dodge. He's gonna have it half the year. I've got it half of the year. A matter of fact, early December, this coming Christmas time, we're gonna be out in Scottsdale, Arizona at the Make-A-Wish headquarters with this vehicle. And it's gonna be a sight to be seen, because truthfully, that's what you do with something like this. I've been entrusted, and Rob's been entrusted with the ownership from the Historical Society. And there are obviously certain stipulations to us owning the vehicle. We're actually curators of the vehicle. So what we do with it is up to us, and we're gonna do good with it. Something this cool can't just sit in Goldberg's garage, even though that's a really cool thought in and of itself. This has to be shared with a lot of people. And I believe that this is gonna put a lot of smiles on a lot of kids' faces. The Red Eye Express not only had a very successful promotion, but its life is gonna live on forever. I'm gonna pass this thing down to my son. Rob's gonna pass it down to his son, and it will forever be replicated to put smiles on the kid's face. That's kind of the history in a nutshell. Honored to be able to share it with you guys and girls, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for playing. Until next time, have a happy new year.